Hi guys, my name is Michelle Keane, and today I'm going to be talking to you about possible things you could put in your book of shadows. Hope you're as keen for this video as I am. Get it? Get it? Because keen? I'm just going to stop talking. So firstly, what is a book of shadows? So a book of shadows is basically a book, a journal, that a witch will put in details about her path, her rituals, her spell work, beliefs, any of that sort of thing. So each book of shadows is completely individual and different. There's no set Bible, so to speak. It's purely a journal or a set of writing that a witch has made individually for her craft. Some covens share a book of shadows, but I'm not part of coven, so I can't really speak for that. But most people will have their individual book of shadows. So what are possible things you could put in your book of shadows? Firstly, a lot of people will begin with a set of rules. Wiccans will often put the Wiccan Read into their book of shadows. They might put the 13 goals of a witch into it. Just some basic, set of guidelines and rules and such like that. Another thing is many people bless their book of shadows. They might write on a page like a spell to protect it from hexes or like unwanted eyes and such like that. Or even just to keep it from harm. So in your book of shadows you will also probably put something about invocations to the goddess or god or any spirits or deities. Looking through my own book of shadows, you will probably put in some notes about your own deities. You might put in pages about the elements of earth, air, fire and water. You'll probably put in some basic ritual things like how to cast a circle, maybe how to consecrate tools, charging wands and such, basic cleansing techniques. A lot of people will also put in things about the phases of the moon, notes on certain Sabbaths, the rituals that accompany them that people have designed, any correspondences to zodiac signs and things like that. A lot of people will also put in a ritual for the full moon or for the dark moon or new moon, crescent moon, waning, waxing, all that sort of thing. Another thing to put in would be the wheel of the year. So talking about the Sabbaths as previously, all the dates you celebrate them on, what they mean to you, maybe some symbolism and such like that. Some people will put in colour correspondences, so this could be for crystals or it may be for chakras depending on what sort of things that your path includes, but just what they mean to you individually. You might put in symbols, you might put in little snippets of codes or shorthands that you use throughout the book. Another thing is you might put spells in your book of shadows, but a lot of people tend to have a separate book for their spells, just because a lot of people have a lot of spells. Me personally, I have my current book of shadows is simply a binder book, so I can take out pages as I need to. So for now I've got my spells in here, but in the future I might make a separate book for them. And talking about the spells, you might put in things about what date you performed them, what the results were, sort of like a report on the experiment or something like that. And you might say how it worked. You might write down some little changes that you can make in the future to the spell. People will also put in details about herbs and plants, as well as trees, especially if you're making wands, you might put in some properties of the woods that you use. Some people will actually make a separate book for this. I think they call it a herbal grimoire. Mine's all in the same spot. So for example, this is my current book of shadows where I've pasted in plants that I use, and I'm slowly working through writing some notes on them all and the correspondences of planets and elements and such. In my old book of shadows, which I made when I first started, I put down everything. Everything. I put down plants that I have never seen in my life, and I wrote down hundreds and hundreds of pages of it. There's probably about, I want to say it was 5 pages, maybe 10, I don't know. And the plants that I did have, I pasted them in. The plants that I didn't, I just left. You might also want to write down things about crystals. So if you don't just use the colour correspondences and you actually go into further detail, you might want like individual entries for your crystal, which is what I did when I first started. So in my original Book of Shadows, I sort of did like I think it might be watercolour, but a basic like interpretation of what they look like and things about what elements they're actually made of, what the hardness scale is, what chakras they correspond to, and just like properties and benefits and such as well. For phases of the moon, you might want to put like a really nice big wide thing in there. This is my old one. My new one's a lot more tame, but I actually prefer this one more. So for me, I have 2 Books of Shadows. I have my original one, which I made when I first started, and I have my most recent one, which is more personal to me. I actually tend to use this one as more of like an encyclopedia of witchcraft because I just put everything into it, whereas this one is basically my personal one, which suits me a lot better. It's a lot easier to read and such. You will have many Book of Shadows in your lifetime. As soon as you fill up one, you'll probably open another, or you might decide that no, you don't like this one, you're going to make a new one, all those sort of things. You may have different types of Books of Shadows. You may have a grimoire instead of a Book of Shadows. You may have what's known as a Book of Mirrors, which I like to use as just like a hand journal. So when I'm doing some spell work, I'll write down notes in this, and then I'll transfer them to my Book of Shadows. I'll transfer them to my Book of Shadows if I agree with it, if the results worked, if I thought that the spell was done as best as possible, sort of thing. Well, this has been a very speedy and on-the-fly video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you got some tips on what to include into your Book of Shadows. Remember that no one witch is the same as another. There's no one way of doing this. We're all individuals, and we all have our own ways of doing our craft, and that's why it's called our own paths. I hope this gave you some insight into what you could put into your Book of Shadows. There's heaps of resources online. Don't forget to do your research, and just do what feels best for you. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell and all those sort of things. And I hope to see you next time. Bye guys.